You ever see those videos where they make a beautiful pan pizza and they pull the piece out and it's airy and puffy and it's got holes in it and it's just lovely and there's cheese all over the place and it's just amazing?
Pizza pillow?
It's like a pizza pillow. It's like a cloud, like a floating pizza cloud. Look at it. Oh, that one looks like a car. That one looks like an elephant. This one looks like a pizza. Well, do you ever wonder how to make those? You ever wonder how to make that pizza at home? We're gonna do it today. So first, we need to talk about the dough. The dough is kind of the most important part of this pizza, okay? So for this recipe, we're gonna use my 72-hour cold fermented sourdough, all right? And then you can watch the video. This one's baked in a rectangular pan. It uses my regular sourdough recipe, and it's perfect for loading up with whatever toppings you're craving. So I made the dough a few days ago. Okay, so the sourdough was made and I put it in the fridge, and then this morning about 6:30, it was pretty early in the morning. You know, you can do it at your schedule. Do it on your schedule, but I took this dough out of the fridge in the morning and I put it into the pan. You put it into the pan, you kind of push it into position the first time. Okay, and this is a pretty important part. You have to make sure that the dough has time to rise. So the dough is at room temperature in the pan that you're gonna cook it in, okay? It's hanging out on the counter, and you wanna check back in with it every now and then. You wanna look at it, you wanna move it around, kind of give it a zhuzh, push it out toward the corners of the pan. You want this dough to be the shape of the pan that you're cooking it in. So every 2 hours or so, you know, you wanna check back in until it's ready. And you'll have to really just kind of rely on the way that it looks, the way that it feels, the way that it moves into the pan. And an important thing about that too is temperature. So if your kitchen is cold, you wanna find a way to kind of maybe heat the dough up a little bit. So you can put it in your oven with a light bulb on, you can put it in a warm space in your kitchen. I have a little mat that you can put it's a proofing mat. You put your dough on top of it and it'll heat up. So about every 2 hours or so, you know, keep checking on it, go back in, push toward the corners of the pan. You know, if you could kind of lift it up gently and stretch it out to fit the vessel if you want to. The dough is nice and soft, and it doesn't fight you either. So when you're pushing this dough and you're kind of like nudging it into the corners and to the sides of the pan, it doesn't fight back, it doesn't spring back. It's very relaxed. It's easy to move around. And you can see that whenever we're moving it around in the pan. You'll see that it kind of just stays where you put it. So as it stands right now, this dough has been at room temp for about 8 hours now, okay? I know it seems like a long time, but if you take it out first thing whenever you wake up and you just kind of let it hang out on the counter, come back to it every now and then, it's really not that big of a deal. And you know, your time may vary. It could be ready before that. If you have an especially warm kitchen, you put it in a warm area, the dough could be ready in 5 hours, you know? But you definitely wanna have it out at room temp for a while. You'll have to use your senses to make sure that it looks the way it's supposed to. Okay, so this dough is actually kind of perfect for a Detroit style pizza. Okay, Detroit style, that's your dough in the bottom, and then you're gonna have your cheese on top and your toppings, and then the sauce goes on last, right? This pizza today is going to be kind of a Detroit style dough, but we're gonna do it a more traditional style pizza where the sauce is gonna be under the cheese, and then we're gonna do some pepperoni and some pickled Fresno peppers for a little sweetness, a little bit of heat. Okay, so the sauce is a very simple sauce. This is gonna be a raw sauce. We're just using some Bianco di Napoli tomatoes, crushed, and salt. So that's all we're gonna have. That's gonna be the entirety of the sauce is gonna be that. I'm gonna add to the top of that a little dried oregano for some flavor, but we're not doing anything else to it than that. 1 can, whole can, right in there. Got to get every drop, you know? Whenever you're measuring out a recipe or ingredients, you know, it's like that measurement, like, you know, we could have just left all that in there, right? We could have just left that in there and thrown it out. But the measurement, if we're doing a percentage of this can's weight for our salt, that includes all that stuff in there. You got to get it out. All right, so this is the tomato sauce. We're gonna add a little bit of salt to it, and it's about it's a little bit more than 1%. It's not quite 1.25%. So it's gonna be 9 grams of salt. There it is, right in there. Give it a stir. And that's it. Isn't that lovely? That's all you have to do for your sauce. You could do more if you wanted to cook the sauce, if you want to add a little garlic. I mean, there's tons of different ways you can do it. But for this recipe, we're just doing raw sauce, just salt. It's easy. So for the cheese, I'm just using a brick of some inexpensive whole milk mozzarella. Okay, this is just, I'm not gonna say it's Walmart, even though it is Walmart. But this is some low moisture whole milk mozzarella cheese. It melts really well. It makes for a nice cheese pull most of the time. It's a good cheese. Tips for baking this pizza. So a very important part of this pizza, in my opinion, is called the par bake. Okay, so the par bake is the partial bake. What we're gonna do with the dough is take a very thin layer of the sauce and put it on top, okay? Now we're gonna put it in the oven, 475, okay? 475, I've had this oven preheating for a while. Probably wanna preheat for at least a half an hour. Get your oven nice and hot. It's been about 11 minutes, 12-ish, something like that. So we're gonna pull it out. It smells so good in here too, by the way. But aha, see that? So we got one little black spot right there, okay? Little cooked spot, and that's how I know it's ready to receive the toppings.
Do you have to have the spot?
You don't necessarily need to have the spot, but it's good. It's a good indicator. It's good. That's how you know that it's mostly done on the inside. This is a partial bake. It's not completely done, but we want the dough to kind of be ready, to be strong enough to receive all the toppings we're about to dump on it, or you're about to dump on it. We're keeping it light today. So I'm gonna put more sauce on this before it goes back in. So I do about 3 of these ladles. This is a 2-ounce ladle, by the way. Link in the description. And I do a stripe, and then I do another stripe, and then I go back in for a 3rd stripe. And then we mush it, spread it all around, all the way out to the edges. And if you want to, to go all the way to the edge, like as in like get it in the pan, that's fine. The sauce will cook and it'll caramelize and it'll get sweet and it'll be nice. But I'm just kind of, trying to keep it on the top. If it runs off a little bit, so what? Who cares? Okay, I'm gonna add a little bit more oregano over the top. Is that about a teaspoon? I don't know. All right, now we do the cheese. So if you want to have that cool thing where you get like the cheese edge, I guess we'll go ahead and we'll do that. We'll do the cheese edge. So you want to go in, not too much by request, but if you want to go full cheese edge, you just pack it in, okay? You put as much as you want, as much as you can along the outside, and that'll give you a nice frico edge. But this one we're just flirting with it. We're not going crazy. Some of it'll melt down on the side. Okay, you want good coverage. And again, this is a full pound of cheese. If you want more cheese, use more cheese. I think that a pound is more than enough. This is all mozzarella. If you want like really, really melty cheese, you can do cheese blends. You can add provolone in there, add whatever you want. The point is, do what you want, okay? So what I did here is I held a little bit of this back, okay? And I'll show you why, okay? So now we're gonna go ahead and switch over to pepperoni, a full package of pepperoni. Okay, then this is just some basic ass pepperoni. This is not anything that is fancy or special. If you want to do fancy pepperoni, go for it. So the reason I held back some of that cheese is because these are not cup and crisp pepperonis. If they were, I would put them on top and I wouldn't put anything on top of them. I'd let them do their magical dance on the top where they cup up and they're beautiful and they look wonderful all in a row. But these are just regular pepperoni and they're gonna lie flat. So I held that cheese back because I'm gonna put a little bit over the top and it helps that extra meltiness and just a lovely pizza experience that you're looking for. Nice and layered.
So blanket.
Nice blanket. And then we got our spicy, sweet, pickled Fresnos. Just gonna add those here and there. If you have a cut on your finger, after you handle the Fresnos, you'll know about it. Especially if you didn't know about it before. All right, so we're taking the remainder of the cheese and we're gonna sprinkle it right over the top like this. Lovely, lovely. And then this goes back in the oven, back in the 475 oven for about another 10 to 15 minutes. And she goes. So I checked it at about 11 minutes and it wasn't done yet. It didn't look the way I wanted it to. So I pulled it out, turned it, and put it back in for about 4 more minutes. So whenever you're cooking this thing, just kind of use your better judgment and just keep an eye on it. Look at it. Let's check it out. Ooh, you hear that? She's singing to us. Ooh. Ooh. Guess we need to get the mic in there, huh? So I'm just gonna kind of get underneath it with a butter knife. And you can see, came right out of that pan. And I'm gonna let this kind of hang out for 4 or 5 minutes before I cut into it, just because I don't want to burn my mouth severely. So it's been sitting here on this wire rack for about 5 minutes, and now we're gonna cut it open. We're gonna slice into it.
What tool are you using?
Oh, this is my Gosney pizza rocker. Yeah, link in the description below. See, still very steamy. Steamy indeed. So there it is. Nice, fluffy, cheesy, meaty. I'll take a bite. It's crunchy. It's kind of soft and pillowy in the middle. Really good flavor from the sourdough. The caramelized cheese around the edges there. The sauce is good, perfect. It's salty, but not too salty. Got some good heat from the Fresnos. This is a combination you should try for sure. This would go great with some hot honey as well. There's a little bit of that over the top. Would be perfect to finish it. But that's it. You know, it's not a hard pizza to make. All it takes is a little bit of time and making sure that your dough looks the way that it's supposed to before you put the toppings on it, before it goes in the oven. Making sure you give it the right time, you give it the right temperature, and just stay dedicated. This is a pizza you can make for your whole family. It's huge. So make this pizza, take a picture of it, post it online, tag me. New Young Pizza Guy. Thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.